guys see any Gothic conventions used in modern day vampire movies that was used in the book?
Definitely.
Yes.
Of course. We talked about wolves, blood-sucking, one of the other ones.
Well, the Gothic conventions include like mystery.
Impaling a wooden stake through the heart would be one example. Obviously the coffin.
The
nocturnalness.
The Gothic conventions are like mystery and suspense, and that worksheet we were doing.
Isn't that like...
It's like what we were doing for so like you obviously see the sense of mystery in like the modern day Dracula movies, because no one knows that like Dracula movies if there is a vampire.
Yeah.
So you have that. You have suspense every time there's like a major key event about to happen. So you have those present in almost all of the movies.
You have mystery, and the fact when someone dies, when someone's killed, it's never obvious in the movie. Like it's the same thing in the book. Yeah, there was bite marks in the neck, but you know, where did those come from?
They attributed to like disease or something.
Exactly.
What about the classic mystery like music that's put into each like kind of like Gothic film? Like you look at the old Dracula.
It's like that old classical kind of thing.
Yeah, you see like
create
dun dun dun.
Yeah, it can help convey the mysteries.
And then now you see Hollywood just puts a bunch of special effects under it and like a lot of blood and there's a vampire like in the room.
Yeah. Even like Twilight, you still like even in the books you see that darkness and you still see that. Yeah, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
I guess there's a connection with dark.
I mean,
yeah, and
although I've never read
yeah.
or watched any of the movies, I guess there's still a connection with mystery.
They're wonderful.
I mean, all like vampires.
All right, let's not get too off topic. Let's
No,
cover
we're not.
everything.
I'm just using.
I see.
We have a little amount of time. I just want to move on. We want to cover everything.
The
So
basic is like almost everything originates from Dracula.
Yeah, the Dracula we see today actually is based upon what happened back then.
Dracula theme center.
There we go. Okay, so next question. So what are some major key points in the novel, and why are they important?
huge journal articles.
Exactly.
The way they tell the story through diaries,
Right.
journals,
Makes it more personal to the characters.
Yeah.
hugely personal. The reader can draw a direct connection to how a person is feeling because the person's writing exactly how they feel in their letters.
Yeah, it's like an out-of-body experience.
It would not be the same story if it did not have those letters.
Yeah, it gets the personal connection. You actually kind of feel scared for them.
The way they do that in the movies is they have the main character
Do it like
Narrate.
narrate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
rather
narrate
than
what
living the
they're thinking.
experience through the character, you're living the experience watching the character.
Yeah.
Gives you a different
And you're viewing it from every single character, so you're getting that overlapping, and you're seeing like that every story has more than one side to it, so you can see everything.
like how in 27 when this goes Mina's diary and then Van Helsing's diary, and it shows like how Mina knew that she wasn't being hypnotized as well, and she was always like falling asleep and like staying asleep a lot, and then it goes to Van Helsing how he worries about her more when he can't actually hypnotize her.
Yeah.
Because he treats the transformation.
It's a lot different from what we're normally used to.
Yeah, it's just you see both sides of the story.
It gives you like a different perspective.
I think that the letters actually add something because there's only so much an author or narrator can do. So the letters definitely give a good inside look into what the characters are feeling.
Plus, it's more interesting when the narrator isn't like an omniscient narrator because he knows everything. He gives you all the information. This way, you don't know everything, so it helps create that mystery or suspense that you.
I think this is very true. Even the suspense in the book, I think, is way more than like any vampire movie because the suspense in the book is page by page, and where the movie, we, as viewers, we can kind of see things coming because like they'll build up the music and you like know it's coming. We turn the page and someone else could be dead.
Very true.
Okay, I think it's time to move on to the next section. So can we say some major themes in the novel?
Isolation is like key in this because every the whole sense of mystery in the Gothic conventions is built around this isolated castle. The chase. Dracula has no one around him. There's nothing living that's near this castle, and it just creates much more of a complete novel.
What about if you go onto isolation? What about like people that were isolated in the movie that felt, the novel that felt like that they were isolated from everyone else and they couldn't explain what they were feeling? I think it was Mina who had like night terrors for like a whole journal.
Yeah, it was Mina at the end of the book. Remember, she was having like the connection with Dracula. How she could like hear what he was hearing.
Yeah,
she could hear the wood and the water.
Sweat. She was freaking out.
Yeah, so she was even isolated like in her own thoughts. She wasn't even sacred in her own thoughts.
Yeah.
Well, let's not forget about John Hart. It's like in the beginning he was there for supposed to be there for like a day, and he ended up being there for like couple days.
Well, yeah, it's because he was trapped.
Imprisonment is pretty big too, because no matter, like, even, like, the obvious example with Harker being imprisoned in the castle, like, most of the characters in this have, like, the theme of imprisonment as, like, Mina can't do what she normally would do. She's a prisoner of Dracula. She has to follow what he does, so it's major along with isolation.
Are you thinking of anything else for themes besides isolation?
Chiaroscuro theme, or is that just a method?
That's just a method.
Are we just gonna get right into Chiaroscuro though?
Yeah,
So we
wanna
can just like
jump into that?
Okay, so we're gonna jump into the next question was, how does the author use the technique of chiaroscuro to invoke sensations associated with classic Gothic conventions?
I think Chiaroscuro picks up where it does what a movie can't really do. Like in a book, you can't have like theme music, so in a way that Chiaroscuro kind of like tells you what's going to happen, like something like
It paints the picture.
yeah,
It sets a tone where you can't have an image to set the tone for you.
Well, I mean, a movie does that, but I mean,
But
it
you have to pay
doesn't
close
make it
attention.
clear. Yeah,
The
it
movie
doesn't
is the
make
image.
it clear like a book
It's
does.
way more
Yeah.
subtle
Think
because
about-
it's not
yeah.
spoken.
Think about how many pages we read where it was just like details about their surroundings and like the setting.
Yeah.
And like in a movie, that's the
like-
first thing you see
That
is
could
the
be 3
castle.
seconds, and you're just like, oh, castle.
Yeah, the opening look is always the castle. They do like a little preview around, and then they zoom into the main character, and then she starts talking.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, a movie is just in picture. I mean, it does everything a book says. It's just like you don't pick up on it. In a
Right,
way.
Yeah, exactly.
You just
A
you
much
movie,
more
just-
it
subconscious.
just it may seem subtle, but it's really not subtle. It's like right there in your face. You just don't think of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But in a book where Kier
You have-
obscure,
but
like,
that's-
shows you it like
That's
in
what it is in the book. It's like just puts
Yeah.
it right in your face.
They,
Yeah.
they force
It's the
you to
picture.
read it. They force you to paint that image.
Yeah.
So you
Movies-
understand.
Right, so chiaroscuro brings out what Gothic conventions?
It could bring out every single one.
Yeah.
Like suspense is definitely one of them.
Suspense,
Yeah, I mean, think-
mystery, fear,
Darkness,
terror,
evil.
Like vulnerability too.
vulnerability,
Even,
that's huge.
it can even go into
Death,
positives with
life.
happiness because of the contrast between light and dark.
Helplessness.
Yeah, absolutely. Just being scared of like losing their own life. I mean, that the constant fear throughout the entire novel is, you know, am I going to lose my life because of Dracula? And you see, like what Nate said, you see at the end of the book where Mina is having a connection with Dracula. She's fearing for her own life, and she can't explain it to anyone else because her thoughts are no longer hers.
Especially in like the key points, like that Russian cargo ship, the Demeter, I think it was called.
yeah.
It's in the middle of a storm where it's like it's complete darkness and like the crew when he ties himself to the ship, it paints the scene where it's complete darkness. He doesn't know what's going on. Like it shows like a lack of knowledge really.
All right. Well done. Was that all? Did we cover all the questions?
We covered all 4 of our questions.
All right. You want to wrap it up there?
Closing statements?
Have any last?
Any closing statements for the book? Any opinions? Anyone like the book?
Dracula.
Pretty
Honestly,
Thought it was pretty good.
honestly, I think Dr. Dracula and Mr. Hyde was probably the better of the 3 books that we read.
No, well, I mean, it probably.
I liked it because it was shorter.
but it was more condensed.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
lot more.
I like the suspense with it too.
Yeah.
That may have had something to do with it.
Because it was
It
quick.
came at you quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hit you like a ton of
Really,
bricks.
It
a
kept
lot
you
of-
thinking. It
yeah.
kept you thinking, even though it was so quick. It
Yeah.
kept you
Well,
thinking.
everyone's kind of heard the story of Dracula, but I liked how like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you didn't really know the story.
I
So
mean,
you could come up with, like,
I
your
knew
own
the
idea.
Well,
story. I
you
just,
know
like,
the
didn't
basic story. You don't know the actual
yeah,
the
I didn't know about,
details.
like, Mr. Utterson or the
Yeah,
details.
but you
I
could
didn't
come
know
up with like
that.
your own idea. If you hadn't heard the story, you didn't know that it was the same person being
That's
two
true,
different
yeah.
characters.
True.
You could come up with your own idea
Yeah.
about it.
I like
Which
how
kind of makes the book
I
more
just liked how what the author used for like methods. He made it so that everything was right there. You had to pay attention to each detail. Or
Yeah.
you were gonna miss something.
Right.
I think it was definitely more of a mystery, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
It was much more condensed.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Jekyll was
It's more of like
you
a-
already
you-
knew what was gonna happen.
Yeah, you were like searching for the villain the entire book, which I
Yeah.
thought was kind of like it was more like Sherlock Holmes type esque, and it was more Gothic in that sense of mystery. Dracula is more about kind of like a gore.
Yep.
Well, that was a good discussion.
Well done, boys.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.